Okay, welcome again, grade 6. Let's start with chapter 2. It's called Mary in Yorkshire. Okay, first the new words. Here we have the word wander. Wander. Wander means to walk slowly with no special plan. To walk slowly with no special plan. Shocked. Shocked means very surprised. Very surprised. Dialect. Dialect. A different way of speaking the same language in a different part of the country. So they speak the same language but in a different way. Okay? And also we have here, okay, wait for me. Yes, the word furious. Furious means very angry, very angry. Confused means not able to understand something, not able to understand something. Locked means closed with key, closed with key. Buried, something put in the ground, something put in the ground. And the last word, it's a secret as we already know it, something that you don't tell to everybody. So let's start seeing our summary. Mary and Miss Medlock arrived at a very large house. So this is the house of Mr. Craven. It looked dark and unfriendly from the outside. When Mary woke up the next morning, she saw a young servant. As you can see, here is a young servant girl cleaning the fireplace. She was Martha. Martha, you have to keep the name. This is Martha. Okay? Mary was feeling very bad-tempered because Martha spoke with her too much about the moor. Martha told Mary that they spoke Yorkshire dialect, so Mary didn't understand this dialect. Okay, and let's complete the summary and see. Martha told Mary that people should be able to take care of themselves. Mary felt confused and lonely. She threw herself down on the bed and started crying. She told Mary about her brother Rickon. He was always out on the moor. He is 12 and he has got a horse. Mary went downstairs. She saw an old man digging in one of the vegetables garden. As you can see, here is the old man digging, and this is the garden, and this is a spade. You can keep the word. This is a spade. We will need it. Spade. Okay, now let's start reading our story. Mary in Yorkshire. You can check this page in your story. Okay, they arrived at a very large old house. It looked dark and unfriendly from the outside. Inside, Mary looked around the big shadowy hall and felt very small and lost. They went straight upstairs. Mary was shown to a room where there was a warm fire and food on the table. "This is your room," said Miss Medlock. "Go to bed when you have had some supper, and remember you must stay in your room. Mr. Craven doesn't want you to wander all over the house." When Mary woke up the next morning, she saw a young servant girl cleaning the fireplace. The room seemed dark and rather strange, with pictures of dogs and horses and ladies on the wall. It was not a child's room at all. From the window she could not see any trees or house, only wild land, which looked like a kind of purple sea. "Who are you?" she asked the servant coldly. "Martha, miss," answered the girl with a smile. "And what's that outside?" Mary continued. "That's the moor," smiled Martha. "Do you like it?" "No," replied Mary immediately. "I hate it." "That's because you don't know it. You will like it. I love it. It's lovely in spring and summer when there are flowers. It always smells so sweet. The air is so fresh and the birds sing so beautifully. I never want to leave the moor." Mary was feeling very bad-tempered. "You are a strange servant," she said. "In India, we don't have conversations with servants. We tell them what to do, and that's that." Martha didn't seem to mind Mary's crossness. "I know I talk too much." "Are you going to be my servant?" asked Mary. "Well, not really. I work for Miss Medlock. I'm going to clean your room and bring your food. But you won't need a servant except for those things. But who is going to dress me? This is Mary talking. Martha stopped cleaning and stared at Mary, as you can see here. Yes, this is Martha and this is Mary, and she stopped cleaning and stared at her. Can I dress this in? She asked, shocked. What do you mean? I don't understand your language. Oh, I forgot. We all speak the Yorkshire dialect here, but we, of course, you don't understand that. I meant to say, can't you put on your own clothes? Of course not. My servants always used to dress me. Well, I think you should learn to dress yourself. My mother always says people should be able to take care of themselves, even if they are rich and important. Little Miss Mary was furious with Martha. It's different in India, where I come from. You don't know anything about India or about servants or about anything. She couldn't explain what she meant. Suddenly she felt very confused and lonely. She threw herself down on the bed and started crying wildly. Now, don't cry like that, Martha said gently. I'm very sorry. You are right. I don't know anything about anything. Please stop crying, miss. She sounded kind and friendly, and Mary began to feel better and soon stopped crying. Martha went on talking as she finished her cleaning, but Mary looked out of the window in a bored way and pretended not to listen. I have got 11 brothers and sisters. You know, miss, there is not much money in our house, and they all eat so much food. Mother says it's good fresh air on the moors that makes them so hungry. My brother Declan, he is always out on the moor. He is 12 and he has got a horse which he rides sometimes. Where did he get it? Asked Mary. She had always wanted an animal of her own, and she began to feel a little interest in Declan. Oh, it's a wild horse, but he is kind boy, and animals like him. You see, now you must have your breakfast, miss. Here is on the table. I don't want it, said Mary. I'm not hungry. What? Cried Martha. My little brother and sister would eat all this in 5 minutes. Why? Asked Mary coldly. Because they don't get enough to eat. That's why. And they are always hungry. You are very lucky to have that food, miss. Mary said nothing, but she drank some tea and ate a little bread. Now put a coat on and run outside to play, said Martha. It will do you good to be in the fresh air. Mary looked out of the window at the cold grey sky. Why should I go out on a day like this? She asked. Well, there is nothing to play with indoors, is there? Mary realized Martha was right. But who will go with me? She said. Martha stared at her. No one. You will have to learn to play by yourself. Deacon plays by himself on the moors for hours, with the wild birds and the sheep and the other animals. She looked away for a moment. Perhaps I shouldn't tell you this, but one of the walled gardens is locked up. No one's been in it for 10 years. It was Mr. Craven's garden, and when she died so suddenly, Mr. Craven locked it and buried the key. Oh, I must go. I can hear Mrs. Medlock bell ringing for me. Mary went downstairs and wandered through the great empty gardens. Many of the fruit and vegetables gardens had walls round them, but there were no locked doors, and no locked doors. She saw an old man digging in one of the vegetables garden, but he looked cross and unfriendly, so she walked on. How ugly it all looks in winter, she thought. But what a mystery the locked garden is. Why did my uncle bury the key? If he loved his wife, why did he hate her garden? Perhaps I will never know. I don't suppose I like him if I ever met him. And he won't like me, so I won't be able to ask him. Just then she saw a robin singing to her from a tree on the other side of a wall. I think that's tree in the secret garden. Yes. Now we finished the pages. Let's read the questions. The first question is, go to bed. Now, when you have had some supper, and remember, you must stay in your room. Yes, so now we will know who said this. Yes, the one who said this was Miss Medlock. To whom? Yes, Miss Medlock was speaking to Mary. And why did she ask her to stay in her room? Because Mr. Craven doesn't want her to wander in the house. So yes, here it is. Number 2. Oh, I forgot. We all speak in the Yorkshire dialect here, but of course you don't understand that. Who said this? Yes, the one who said this is the servant Martha. To whom? She was speaking to Mary. And did she understand the Yorkshire dialect? No, she didn't. And yes, that's it. Okay, and the last 2 questions. Martha works for Miss. Yes, she works for Miss, as you can see, Medlock. Martha is going to clean. Yes, I think here we have a mistake. Going to clean Mary's. Yes, she is going to clean Mary's room and bring her food. I hope you enjoyed the lesson today, and you can practice the story by reading it by yourself. Seeing you next time. Bye bye.